The modernist movement produced endless revolutions in art and architecture. In the first half of the 20th century, countless iconic architectural works were designed and constructed. This paper will discuss the King's Road House designed by Rudolf Schindler and the Eames House designed by Charles and Ray Eames. Each structure utilizes the elements of line, color, and light uniquely. These houses fall under the general category of modernism. However, I would argue that the Eames House is a more evolved version of the ideas contained in the King's Road House. In essence, the King's Road House is a predecessor to the Eames House. The Eames House, also known as Case Study Number 8, was the home of the married design duo Charles and Ray Eames. After the Eameses moved into Case Study House Number 8 on Christmas Eve in 1949, the couple lived and worked for the rest of their lives in this dreamy glass house in Pacific Palisades. A pamphlet provided by the Eames Foundation during the tour reads, "In the latter half of the 19th century, the husband and wife team, Charles and Ray Eames, set a design standard that many feel has yet to be equaled. Their curiosity and creativity touched the design areas of furniture, films, museum exhibitions, graphics, industrial design, photography, toys, and of course architecture. Their works continue to be taught to art, design, and architecture students across the globe." Built in 1948, this structure is the quintessential example of mid-century modern American architecture. This work engages the artistic and architectural elements of line, light, and color using the design language of the Eameses. The Eames House is constructed using steel trusses and columns, glass window panes, and plaster panels. The home uses both vertical and horizontal lines of varying thickness in order to create hierarchy on each facade. These columns and window frames are painted black, allowing them to become a striking contrast for the transparency of the windows or opaqueness of the color panels. All of the panels are painted primary colors. Each panel is painted either blue, yellow, red, or white. Bright colored panels pull the viewer's attention to the panel's role in the visual hierarchy of the otherwise flat grid of the facade. During the day, natural light floods inside from the two-story windows, and after sunset, the home becomes a glowing beacon in the meadow in which it's built. Throughout the day, light transitions from bright to diffused as the sun passes overhead. Overall, the Eames House is the ideal open-concept, mid-century modern home that so many architects aspire to emulate. The King's Road House, also known as the Schindler Chase House, was built by Rudolf Schindler in 1922 in what is now West Hollywood. When the home was built, the land was barren and empty. Now, in 2023, the tall apartment buildings and busy street enclose the home on all four sides. Despite the rapid change in scenery over the past century, the horizontality of the home still reads as you enter. The floor plan of the house is essentially a pinwheel, which creates many nooks throughout the interior and exterior for people to occupy. The boldest lines in the facade are the roof and floor line. The strong horizontal lines visually flatten the structure and urge the occupants to open doors or windows and drift outside. Art historian Robert Sweetney states that using the consistent 4-foot module and standardized slab-tilt wall construction, Schindler created a building in which no two spaces are alike, while at the same time seamlessly integrating indoors and out, creating, in his words, a real California scheme. The King's Road House is made of concrete, redwood, glass, and canvas. It was constructed using the slab tilt method, wherein concrete slabs are poured into forms on the ground, then tilted or stood up 90 degrees to form columns and walls. The inclusion of concrete in the framing of the house makes it a bit more opaque and shadowed than the Eames House, which in contrast is almost entirely glass. Due to Schindler's modernist design sensibilities, he opted to keep the materials of the King's Road House as is. This keeps the palette subdued, earthy, and neutral, composed of mostly grays and browns. At that time, many strict modernists opted to respect the natural color or texture of materials. Influential artist Theo van Doesburg states in his manifesto that his theory of modernism rejects all artificial color value. Keeping the raw gray color and rough texture of the concrete provides both color and textural contrast to the smooth redwood framing. In the home, light typically comes from the wood-framed glass window walls, which are placed across from a concrete wall. The contrast in light and materials draws occupants outside to interact with the comfortable California climate. The permeability of certain walls and spaces is the ultimate goal of the floor plan. The Kings Road House is currently occupied and maintained by the Mack Center for Arts and Architecture, which I have had the pleasure of working for this year. Overall, the Kings Road House represents an early modernist design sensibility that eventually evolved into the sleeker mid-century version represented by the Eames House. In conclusion, the Kings Road House and the Eames House both utilize the three elements of line, color, and light uniquely. Both homes use lines to distinguish horizontal and vertical spaces, although the Kings Road House is more interested in creative horizontal spaces and views. Both homes utilize color in their designs, but the Eames House is more generous and playful with its color palette. Both homes play with light, but their structures and materials allow for different opacities and transparencies. The Eames House aims to live up to the mid-century design ideals of the Eameses, while the Kings Road House embodies the bare materiality and clean lines of early modernism. Both homes utilize modules to aid in design and construction. Both homes have the goal of dissolving the boundaries between inside and outside, creating transparencies between interior and exterior in their own unique ways.